for the second info meeting for the St. Lucia study abroad that's going next winter break. And we are planning to do 3 weeks on the island of St. Lucia. And so you can see our dates right now are set at December 30th through January 21st. And tonight we're gonna do, I was gonna say a short presentation. I'm endeavoring to keep it short so that we can get to questions at the end. But I do wanna give you at least a good overview of what to expect for this program coming up. So before we jump into that, I'm going to introduce ourselves. Before I get to Erin and myself, I also want to give like full big credit to Mary Jane Hoff, who you can see on the screen. She is our program manager extraordinaire from the Study Abroad office, who I owe so much gratitude for all of her orchestrating and organizing and compiling things. She really shepherds the process through. And everyone gets to meet her as an applicant. And then if you're accepted on the program, she helps do everything. And at the end, she'll have some more kind of logistical information for everyone as well. I saw you unclick, Mary Jane. You're welcome to say hello if you want to verbally say it.
Hi, everybody. Just so you know, in case you have to jump off before we're finished, the meeting is being recorded and will be emailed to all that were here tonight. I'm also going to put a link to the application and the info sheet in the chat at once I know that more people were definitely started. So you can grab that.
Awesome. Yep. And we'll say this again, probably 3 more times, but we have now, the Study Abroad office has shifted into all online applications. So the link that Mary Jane provides you is the application. You can fill out, get signatures and everything online and get it submitted to the Abroad office. Okay, well, without further ado, let me introduce myself before I just get into everything. My name is Stephanie Loveseth. I'm a faculty member in the Educational Studies Department. I'm also the director of Study Abroad. I'm really, really excited and pumped to take this program. And with kind of full disclosure that I inherited this program from Lauren Stewart. She really is sort of like the mastermind behind it all. She's taken several trips to St. Lucia and St. Lucia Grenada in the Caribbean over the years, but she's leaving Principia now for a very exciting new opportunity with Cedars Camps. We really still wanted this program to go forward. And so interestingly enough, she and I are the educational faculty that work in the outdoor and experiential track. So in the ed department, I teach the outdoor education course, I teach leadership, I also teach interpersonal communication, which just very nicely goes exactly into this program. And some of my other past experience, actually, before I came to Principia and was a faculty member, I worked in outdoor education. So that was my career before being a faculty member. Everything from being a mountaineering guide to ropes course facilitator and trainer. I was the director of an outdoor center in Colorado. And without further ado, that is what kind of connects me to Aaron Morris, who is the program RC. And I am going to let him talk in a second. But Aaron is one of the gems of an individual that you could ever know. We are close personal friends, but we've also worked together professionally in the outdoor education field. We worked at Adventure Unlimited Ranches together. You can see a very fun, like old picture, I'd say old picture of Aaron and I on the side there. That's even kind of blurry because, you know, we didn't have really great iPhones and things back then for like crisp, clear pictures. But Aaron and I have done a lot of adventuring together over time. So I'm so grateful to have him as my partner on this program. And Aaron can tell you a little bit about himself in the contemporary sense now too.
Yeah. I was just looking at these pictures and I realized this is probably good because I don't know what my beard is going to look like going into the abroad. So there's a nice spectrum from like full beard to no beard. Though I probably won't bring that little blue Smurf hoodie thing. So Steph and I have known each other for quite a while, and she did touch on that I've worked at Adventure Unlimited. So from an adventure recreation standpoint, which is obviously one of the focuses for this abroad, I've worked for Adventure Unlimited. I've worked for Camp Belisle, founded an outdoor center for Camp Belisle. worked at a number of other, some of the other CS camps, and worked at a number of different outdoor education programs as well. So definitely have kind of a foot in that world. For about the last 10 years, though, my focus has really shifted into wildlife. And I have worked in northern Minnesota with wolves, worked on the Yellowstone Wolf Project, cougars in Yellowstone. I've worked with marine mammals up in the Arctic. And I'm currently a PhD candidate at the University of Minnesota, and I'm studying elephants, and particularly elephant carcasses in Kenya. So looking at some of the impacts of poaching in ecosystems, not just what's happening with, like, oh, you lose elephants, so it disrupts families, but what does that actually, what does an elephant carcass do in an ecosystem? And I won't fill you in on all the information now, but it's super cool, and I'd be happy to talk to you all about it. There's, you drop 6 tons of food into an ecosystem, and a lot of neat stuff happens around it. So, but being in the outdoors is something that I do, both for work and then personally as well. I like getting out with my son, and I like fishing. So I think that's about it.
That's great. And you can tell Aaron and I, we can geek out about a lot of sort of like environment, nature, outdoor kinds of stuff. So that's exciting, but it also like lends it to the fact that we're fun people in general, if I do say so myself. But I will speak specifically for Aaron of being able to have a travel companion that's just up for anything, that really loves adventure, really interested in people. We both really like connecting with people and establishing relationships. So we're excited to be able to find other folks that want to come along with us on this adventure next year. So we'll stop with us for a second, but just so you know what you're getting into with Stephanie and Aaron, we wanted to give you a good introduction there. But let's now talk a little bit about the overview of the program theme, which is outdoor leadership in context. So outdoor leadership is a great liberal arts discipline in and of itself already. It combines outdoor skills. A lot of times will be like biking, kayaking, climbing, boating in lots of different ways, with theory and practice in interpersonal communication, behavioral science, coaching and facilitation, and leadership studies. And you can see kind of the nice little word cloud that I developed here, because it was really helping me to sort of ground what are the different things that we'll explore, the different competencies that we'll reach for and develop together. So with that, it's also going to be layered on all of that skills with decision-making, problem solving, facilitation, working in an outdoor setting is also layered on with environmental and cultural context. And that's what's going to make it really special and unique to study outdoor leadership as a discipline in conjunction with St. Lucia as a rich environment and place with a lot of cool historical, cool and complex. So cool is often my like synonymous word for complex context with history and politics, being an island nation, having a lot of regionalism impacts happening there, tons of sustainability efforts, tourism, huge in there, right? All of these different societal elements. So really trying to link that type of context, environment, and the culture with how outdoor leadership shows up in that place. So for us, what that means, like in terms of academic courses, is this program will have a 1 semester hour course next fall. And this is a change. I'm putting a little asterisk there because at first we were going to have a 3 semester hour course next fall, but this is a change. So just everyone take that note in case you thought you'd heard something different previously. You did. You weren't mistaken. But now it is a 1 semester hour course. So it'll meet during that M4 block. That's what they call it on the daily schedule. It's the Monday time from 11:55 to 12:45. So we'll meet just once a week, but really it will be an amazing preparatory time for us as a learning community, as a group, but also to start learning about the place that we're going to go visit, right? And that we're going to be able to go explore this concept, this discipline of outdoor leadership. So the outdoor leadership class will be the 3-semester class that happens on the trip during winter break, during the 3 weeks that we're in country. And then we'll also have a re-entry course the following spring semester. And that's again a 1-semester course, so it'll be the same time as we had during the fall. Okay. And the re-entry is also an integral portion of this program, because one of my biggest sort of essential things in all of my teaching and in programs and classes that I run is an experiential learning model. So it's being able to have that foundational knowledge, the experience, and the reflection. And that kind of cycle is a circle. So it's going to happen for us continually, like through our fall semester hour classes, through the break programming when we're in St. Lucia. But you can even look at it as a big picture process too, where we're going to have an orientation in the fall, an experience in the winter, and then really intentional reflection when we come back. And in that, we're going to be able to build up basically the theme of this program into relevant takeaway professional skills, personal skills, and link it back to really enriching your education going forward. So that's my plug for that. I'm very excited for just the really comprehensive nature that this program can offer any major. So we know these programs are open to any major, not just ed majors, even though that's the course that's happening on the winter break program. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the itinerary and logistics. And at any point you feel like, oh, I have questions about certain sections, just jot them down. And as I promised, we'll have questions at the end. So fret not, we'll get to that. You'll just have to listen to me talk for a little bit longer. So with the itinerary and logistics, let's first understand where this is. Some of you may know, some of you may find these maps helpful. But you can see here is Principia College, right there, the border of Illinois and Missouri. And here's St. Lucia, all the way down here off the northern tip of Venezuela, right, in the Caribbean. And we have this, the St. Lucia is in the Windward Island chain of the Caribbean. So you can see it coming all the way down there at the bottom. See it right there? Oh, I actually already drew an arrow so that you could see it. Everybody see it? My big red circle that's happening right there, just to be able to position you in the world. Where are we talking about going? Okay. Here's a close-up picture of the island. I'm a very visual learner and I love maps, so we'll probably see this a lot. But you can see it is an island nation, right? And where we will fly in will be the international airport way down at the southern tip. And the majority of the time, if not the whole time, that's hasn't been set all the way yet, we will stay way up here in Rodney Bay. But it's actually only about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive by little minibus through the middle of the island there. Okay, so even though we're going to stay up here towards the north, we really can access all of the island during our 3 weeks there. And that's what we intend to do. Okay. All right. So some other kind of big logistical categories. This is the really fun one that everyone likes to see this slide, but it's going to be the cultural and outdoor adventure activities. This is absolutely an active program. Okay, not to make that overwhelming or to feel intimidating to anyone. We are willing to take anyone that has a spirit of adventure. So if swimming or biking or ziplining is something that maybe feels a little bit outside your comfort zone, that's awesome. Come, join us, have that spirit of adventure. We really want to be able to embrace that, learn and grow together. But also, if you just like walking and hiking and being around people all the time is not your thing at all, well, maybe you should reconsider, or you should ask me some questions to see if this could be right for you, because we will be outside taking advantage of the place, of the experiences, of all of the activities as much as we can over the 3-week period. Okay. So you can kind of see the gamut here, but that is our pledge. That will be the reasons, because we're going to go and learn and experience outdoor leadership. So it'll be about getting into that sort of academic nature of it, learning the theories, but it's also going to be about observing and being participants ourselves. so that we can be in those situations all together. All right, lodging. So as I mentioned, most likely we'll be staying in hotels or a hotel. It might just be a single hotel for the duration by Rodney Bay. Some other things that we're exploring this point is seeing if potentially we could find enough kind of small apartment type living that we could try out. I've also looked into Airbnbs and things like that, but for groups the size, it's really difficult on the island to find that. So that the takeaway message is most likely hotels for the duration, but you need to be flexible in case we have different kinds of accommodations. The one thing that probably won't happen on St. Lucia that does on other study abroads is homestays. It's something that I would really love to find and implement, but this St. Lucia doesn't really have that sort of homestay network. They have more of like in some places you can come and maybe help work on a farm. Some of you may have heard of that before, like you call it like woofing and things like that, but it's not, nothing that we have been able to find so far is for large groups and can accommodate a lot of people or a lot of us in different places. So it's being thought of, but most likely won't be a part of this program. Okay. Food. I know I've said it 6 times already. It's an island nation, so that should like spurn for most of you that of course seafood is available and prevalent, but there's a lot of westernized food as well. And just kind of bringing that up to be able to say things that you would typically be familiar with from Principia. So anyone that has gone to campus at Prin, you're able to find things like pizza and hamburgers and French fries. But one of the best things about going to a place that you're unfamiliar with is trying new things, right? And so we will have opportunities to go to the local market, so much different fresh fruits and vegetables available to us to try. There's a lot of rice and lentil-based things, potatoes, that sort of thing. So it has a whole gamut to be able to be enjoyed. Transportation. Once we arrive on the island, and just take a quick note that we are expecting that everyone's going to get to arrive to St. Lucia on their own. Some abroads in the past will travel together as a group. We're going to try this time that everyone will arrive in St. Lucia on their own. There will be shuttles from the airport to wherever the hotel is. And then when we're on the island, we're going to travel mainly by minibus taxis, small vans. You can see it up there in the top right-hand corner, potentially some smaller taxis, but a lot of active times ourselves. So you'll see a lot of these pictures are swimming and hiking and boating. So we'll use our feet and be active throughout as well. All right. And then the question that we get a lot, so a lot of these slides are like trying to be precursors to ask questions that might come up. But this one is about the reflection time and personal time. So being a 3-week program, there's not going to be a lot of free time. There will never be like a whole weekend we'll just have to yourself, right? We are going to maximize our time being in this amazing place together and to accomplish a 3-semester-hour course. Okay. So what that means, and going back to my belief in the experiential learning model, is that there will be a lot of intentional reflection time built into the program throughout. So it's not going to be constantly go, go, go. If you consider yourself more of an introvert, I will do the best that I can to give us some space so that you can have time to yourself to really process what's happening, make connections, reflect in that way. And before we leave for the program, you'll have a pretty good idea of what the itinerary will look like. So when you might have different chunks of time where you're able to get some homework done, get some caught up on some rest, explore on your own for a little bit and whatnot. The other main point that I want to make on this slide, which might come as a surprise to some and not to others, because this program in particular has always had this caveat on it, is that this program is a technology-free program. And what that means is you're not just going to have free access to technology while we go. So it is a 3-week commitment where you will actually relinquish your phones to Aaron and I, and we will keep them safe for you in a safe. And we will operate without being able to get on social media, text, call, all the other sort of TikTok, make videos, things like that for the 3-week time. You will have times each week that are designated chunks where you can check in with loved ones, and you'll know that ahead of time. So you can let whomever you'd like to contact know that during these dates you'll be able to email or text or FaceTime or whatever. So it's not that you just have to go dark the whole time, but the intention of this is to really immerse ourselves in the place, in our practice, and with our learning community. And just to be able to see what freedom can come from that. So that's another piece that you should really think about. Is that something that you're willing to do, a commitment that you're willing to make? And you can talk with previous abroad students or abroad RCs like Gervais, who's here tonight, to be able to share their experiences of how that went and what they might have gained from it. But it's something we feel strongly about. And also knowing that Aaron and I will have access to our phones and we'll keep our phones on person pretty much all the time, except for when we're snorkeling, right? And swimming and things like that for emergency purposes. So that means if anyone back home has an emergency and they have to contact you, we will be reachable, and vice versa. We'll be able to be in touch with Principia and the Study Abroad office, et cetera, at any point. So we're not going to take that layer, that safety layer off, but we are going to take that personal communication layer off so we can all be present on the program. All right. So we have now, I think that I have like this slide and maybe one more. Let's jump ahead and see. Yes. Okay. So we're like almost to questions. Did you see it? Just 2 more slides ahead. We're getting very close. So now let's talk a little bit about applications. Applications are coming up really soon. We did an info meeting last semester and it felt like, oh, they were just eons away, right? It was just so far away. But now applications are due in 2 weeks. So if you're excited about participating, we'll get on it soon. But I wanted to be able to give you just I was going to say a quick snapshot, but it's not really quick because it's a very long list, as you can see here, of things that Aaron and I are looking for, expectations that we have for participants on this program. So Mary Jane already mentioned Shu will have this recorded, so you can come back and look at this list if you find it helpful. But it might be valuable for you as you think through essay questions that are on the application, and if you come to an interview with Aaron and I, that, hey, they've already kind of told us what they're looking for. So that might be something to consider. And if it fits your expectations for a program as well. But we're looking for people with an interest in outdoor leadership, cultural studies in St. Lucia. Huh, funny that. So probably don't come to the interview telling us that you don't like outdoor leadership, right? We're looking for an enthusiasm for travel and adventure, desire for intercultural learning and understanding, someone that's active and flexible, so takes ownership of your own learning, a commitment to effective and respectful interpersonal communication, commitment to professional approach to group process and productive group engagement. So that goes back to the learning community emphasis we've been talking about throughout. Self-awareness and willingness to engage in feedback and reflection. So thinking how that might come into your life. Commitment to productive spiritual practice. Commitment to social, academic, and safety standards. And then the last one, my bar is covering, so I'm moving it up here. Demonstrated ability to gracefully handle ambiguity and overcome challenges. So small, I know that seems like a long list, but that would be like those kind of the ideal things that we're looking for in people that want to join in onto the program as well. Okay, let's advance here. Last slide before questions. So I'm gonna pause in just 1 second and let Mary Jane take this slide. But one thing that I wanted to mention, in case for some of you it's an elephant in the room, maybe some of you you're not even considering it, but it's just like the state of the world at this point. Like we can air that right now. Thinking about COVID-19, the global pandemic, international travel. Tomorrow, there's actually going to be a water cooler that comes out to let the whole community know that we've had to postpone or cancel our summer programs. So that's going to happen. We're still full on expecting that our late August program, which is Scotland, England, and then Ecuador, what's going in the fall, is continuing, right? And we feel really confident just the same with St. Lucia, that St. Lucia is going to happen at a time when all like the vaccines have come through, when the risk and safety measures and impacts of COVID are lower. So we are pressing on. Like that's the takeaway message from that. The study abroad office continually monitors risk and safety aspects, and we're evaluating all the time. We have lots of vendors that we pay lots of money to do that for us as well. So that you can feel confident that we're feeling confident moving forward with this program. We feel like, yes, we're going to be able to get back to group international travel by next winter break. So I'm just going to put that there in case that was a question, and everyone has follow-up questions, you can ask that in a moment too. And I'm going to let Mary Jane just talk briefly about the application process before we open it up.
I need to unmute. Stephanie, should I show my little blurb here, or would you like me to talk about the application first?
Blurb. What's your little blurb?
It includes the application. I'll show my screen if that's okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Let me, I'll stop sharing mine.
Okay. Okay, and then I need to share my screen. How do I do that again?
It's just right down there at the very bottom. So sometimes you have to make your Zoom screen as big as it can be. And then there's the green button in the middle. It says share.
I got it.
Got it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. So some of these things that Stephanie has actually talked a little bit about, so we'll be able to jump through those bits, but we want to make sure that you have the essentials. She mentioned to start early, and that is a very good idea, so that if there are any little hiccups at the end that you're trying to reach your references or your advisor, your RC, that doesn't hold you back from being able to submit your application on time. Everyone must have a passport that is valid at least 6 months after your return. So that would be July 21st in 2022. So you'll want to check on that now. And because of COVID, the whole process of processing a passport is taking so much longer. One of the faculties for another study abroad program turned her passport in October and just got it back yesterday. So usually it's like 6 weeks, and so it's been months. So just have that start now. Okay, for those that are, well, for visas, US citizens do not need a visa, but international students possibly might. So we'll have to find that out if that is you. The cost of the program for 3 semester hours of traveling, just so you can jot this down and add up what you need to know so it's in your thinking. The tuition is $9.99 per semester hour, so times 3. Room and board is $300 per week. Airfare depends on where you're coming from, but it would be no more than $1,500 round trip. And there's a study abroad fee of $150. Okay, as I mentioned before, just encourage to meet with your advisor and RC ahead of time, just to ensure that they know, well, your advisor to know that it fits into your 4-year plan, to make sure you're on track for declaring a major and completing it. The application is due, like put in your calendar, star it, whatever it is, make it pop out, due by 5 p.m. February 17th of week 4. And it all is online. And so if another reason to start early is to make sure you can actually get online, that it's, it's a Google form, that it's working for you. The one thing that you'll want to know is that when you're filling it out, you can't look ahead to the different pages. There's there's multiple pages, and you can only see what page you're completing. So if you're wanting to think about your essay questions that you have to fill out, you can't see them in the Google form. So we have made an info sheet that is in the chat. I put the link in the chat, and it gives you all the information that Stephanie talked about, all the things you need to know, but it also gives you instructions on how to fill out the online application, as well as giving you the essay questions there. So you can read them ahead of time. You can write them up completely and then just kind of cut and paste them into your Google form so that you have time to think and process and really say what you want to say. Okay. 2 signatures are required, and those are your RC and academic advisor. You should be having about a 15-minute conversation with each, just to know what they want to know, why you want to go, why it fits, and how, making sure that you're all on the same page that this is a good idea. You have 2 references you're asked to include, and one is for your group learning experiences. Another is for your personal and character. Stephanie, is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, just knowing that it doesn't have to be someone that's on campus. It should just be someone that can attest to those areas for you, and not someone that you're related to. That's good practice as you fill in references for applications too. And
there is a link on the first page of the application that you'll be able to give to your RC, your advisor, and the references to be able to fill out. Actually, the references, I think, is just their information. Okay, and then you'll be writing some essay questions. Okay, and I think we've given you this already, but you'll submit it by week 4. You can turn it in today, tomorrow. We actually have some turned in already, so people have been thinking about it. After you submit the application, interviews will take place week 5 through week 7, and we'll send out a Sign Up Genius where you'll online just sign up automatically and will be put into the schedule. It'll be about a 25-minute interview. And then the decision will be emailed to you week 7, Friday of week 7. Okay, and our Study Abroad website, if you go to PrinWeb, go to Study Abroad, and all the information you'll ever want to know about any abroads on there, but you can find current abroads, and then it has these links in there. Okay, thank you very much. And you can always email me with any question.
Thank you, Mary Jane.
You're welcome.
That's great. And like Mary Jane said earlier, she put those links in the chat too. So if you popped on late, she could send it to you again if you need it, but it'll be there all online. The one other quick note I was just going to mention, if you were looking through and seeing the finances associated with this program, that financially does apply to all break programming for study abroad. So the same percentage of financially that you would get towards a semester at Principia, that same percentage would also apply to the tuition on any study abroad break program, so winter or summer. Okay, so just keep that in mind as well. And if you're accepted on the program, very shortly, or like when you're accepted, you also get the status of finance form, which is basically a worksheet for you individually so that you really know what your finances will be before you make your final commitment. So we want to make sure that's transparent too. Okay, well, we've come to the point in the program now that I'm more than happy to take questions. And I know Aaron had to pop off because he's the first reader at his church, blah, 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 had to go do something with the board meeting. So he couldn't be here any longer. So if you're trying to ask him a question, he's not here, but we could relay it to him later. But I'm happy to take questions. And you can either just unmute and risk maybe getting interrupted by someone else unmuting, or do a little emoji raise hand and I can call on you too.
The application link says that it's not working. We have to be invited in to view it. So
that's very good information.
James, look at it.
So that's interesting because some folks have filled it out and submitted it. So we'll have to we'll take a peek at it and see what happened. Thank you.
As Mary Jane said too, though, you can feel free, if you even just type in Principia Study Abroad, it like Google will take you to our page, right? And click on it. And if you then click on programs, the link, you'll see St. Lucia and the application is right there too. And I know that that was working earlier because I tested it even to be able to see. So you could try getting at it from that way. But we will
like
make
Delaney,
it accessible to you. Go ahead, Sophie.
like Delaney said, you just have to make sure you're logged in with your print email, like in Google.
Oh, yeah, I just see it now coming through the chat. You
Yeah,
have to be logged in with your
It says you need permission.
Do you go by Isabella or do you go by something else? Isabella has so many different variations.
I go by,
Oh, you cut
yeah,
out.
Izzy is what
Izzy?
people
I was
normally
gonna
call
say
me Izzy. Yeah.
Izzy. Well, so if you still have trouble, feel free to just email Mary Jane directly and she can give you the link directly too.
Izzy, did you take the link
Okay,
from the
thank you.
chat? Izzy,
Yeah.
did you take the link from the chat?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, maybe did someone else try the link from the chat? That's what I'm curious to know.
I use the
Yeah, I
link.
tried it.
Okay,
It's just, it says like on the bottom of the page, it says not Delaney.Gatine at Principia. So I think you like have to be on your print email.
thank you.
What else would you like to know? Any other questions? Gervais, do you have a question?
Well, I was just gonna say, you know, what are like, there was some people walking what looked like down some big rocks in one of the pictures, and I just wondered what that was.
Why don't you tell us about it, Gervais?
It's so hard. I just need you to know it is so hard, the hike, but it is so worth it. It is wonderful. For you tall people, you'll just like, it'll be like stepping on a regular step. For those of us that are not tall, it's not like stepping on a regular step, but I promise it's so worth it. That's what I had to tell you. It's so worth it. And you might want to quit. At least I kind of wanted to quit, but I didn't. And I'm so
Persevered, which is a great quality.
Uh-huh.
Gervais referring to the Piton hike that we'll do. So you saw that in the very first slide, if you heard at the beginning. It's those just like volcanic hills. They're mountains. They call them mountains there, but they're, comparably not high as mountains, but that jut out of the ocean, right? Part of the island. And we will be hiking one of them. And it is pretty up and a good like stair stepping climb, but you get amazing views, great time to be together. There's no time limit or race, so we can take our time, but also good motivation to think about this will be an active program. So it might be more comfortable if you gotten into shape and done a little bit of walking beforehand, but we'll do it together.
I know that there's no technology on this, but what about pictures? Like, can we have cameras or no?
Yes, absolutely. You can definitely have cameras, and it can be like video cameras. A lot of people bring GoPros and things like that, or investing in other cameras, but it will take some forethought because I know a lot of us, like the camera that I use regularly is my phone. Like that is the camera that I use. So I'm going to have to think about that going forward too, that if I want to capture moments, I'm going to have to borrow or invest in some sort of camera that can capture those. And there would be so many people on the trip that will have that if it was something that you weren't interested in investing in or couldn't find to borrow, people will get lots of pictures and footage of as well.
I had a question. I'm not on campus right now, and I was wondering if there's a way or place for me to submit the application electronically or get signatures electronically.
Yes, the whole application is online. So we actually are not accepting anything paper. So you don't need to fill anything out. So it's all a Google form, and it's actually, that's how you get your signatures as well. Everything is virtual.
Sweet, thank you.
We have moved into the next century. The pandemic has forced us to do that, which is also actually really awesome.
I just wanted to say that from the last the study abroad that we did to St. Lucia, the only person that's on campus is Zaya Kia, and he's an admissions counselor. But so if you needed to talk to someone who like you might actually know, he is in the admissions office, and he would be more than happy to answer questions about, like, if the technology part freaks you out a little bit, like talk to him about it. You can ask him about all of it. He loved it. We talk about it a lot. Yeah, he is a great resource if you have questions. Since he's right here on campus, you don't have to worry. It wouldn't feel as weird as reaching out to someone who maybe you didn't know.
I have a question about the group learning reference. Do you have recommendations for who should fill that out? Can it be an advisor? I'm an engineer, so like a lot of my classes are just me zooming into UND class.
Got it.
So it's not like I can get one of them necessarily to do it. But I
Yeah.
also want like a more recent, like I don't want to go all the way back to like CIT or back to summer camp, but I could. Do you have
Gotcha.
recommendations?
No, I mean, your individual context is a great like point too. I mean, it's really going to think about what would you want your reference to say about you as a group or community member? So who could say that? And I'm not gonna be able to really tell you that, but I would say it could be anyone. Of course, it can definitely be your advisor. It could be someone on campus. I'm just gonna like venture, right? I'm just saying random things for you right now, but like anyone else that watches you collaborate with other people, in like employ teamwork, be able to problem solve, like be in leadership positions and or follower positions within a group. Like just kind of start to think about, okay, well, how do I want to be portrayed? Like, what is it about community and group learning? Like what attributes and qualities might someone want? And so is there someone in your life that could be able to attest to that? And more than just say, oh yes, they're good in a group, but like maybe give an example. It could have been like a previous Sunday school teacher, could be on an athletic team, or if you're on a club, there could be some sort of advisor. I'm not above having it be peers. Like if you feel like a peer is going to give you the ultimate reference, but also just like sometimes even when I do this, like I stop and think, okay, what like message is this giving the person that's giving the reference, that I'm having a peer that might say nice things about me and not be wholly honest? It's up to you. Was that like a good broad enough answer that gave you kind of an answer?
Yeah, I just didn't know if it had to be like a professor or not. Basically,
It
I have a lot of options then from what you
Good.
described.
Okay, good. Some other questions that I get frequently sometimes is like things on the packing list. You will absolutely get a packing list before we go. There's nothing like really bizarre or weird. Like some programs are asking you to, buy all this kind of art supplies or something. For us, the things that maybe you might not have on hand would be everyone's going to have their own snorkel gear. So that will just be like flippers, mask, and the tube that you can easily get on Amazon or any other store. You don't have to buy any like $300 pair. You can get a set for like $25. But just know that that's something that everyone's going to have individually, because we'll be doing a lot of snorkeling, both like on guided trips and just on our own, because it's one of the amazing things that's just available to us while we're there. And then other than that, it will be a lot of active wear. And you'll need some sort of good shoes to be able to do hiking, but also like water type activities. So not going to need sleeping bags, not going to need some of those other things that some other programs often ask you to bring. How about laundry? So the laundry most likely will happen in the hotel. It'll depend on where we end up, honestly, within the hotels. But we'll be able to tell you about that beforehand. Whenever I do longer international travel, I make sure to have some things that are more quick dry, and you can do your own kind of like quick sink rinses at night just to keep things fresh, especially if you're going in the ocean a lot, rinsing out things that are getting in the salty water and stuff like that. But with a 3-week program, we will absolutely facilitate laundry for you while you're there. Any other questions?
Yeah, really quick. By the way, this is Christian Blaney, not Sean Thornton. We're just
Okay.
I was just going over the prices, and for the tuition, is that a regular cost for the abroad? Because it looked a little high, but I also just might be crazy.
Mary Jane can double check on that, but the tuition is the same as tuition for the college. Like it's a credit, it's like a semester hour. So we get it from the finance and accounting office, and they tell us what a Principia credit is worth. And then the study abroad office just times it by however many semester hours there are. So this is a semester hour course. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then is there a way to apply for financial aid on that? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. You might have already said that. It was just like, I don't know, it's been a long meeting. And yeah.
No, totally.
Okay.
It's good to have the repeat things. Yeah, financial aid absolutely applies. It's the same, whatever percentage you get of financial aid towards a normal semester. So like fall semester on campus, whatever percentage of financial aid you get that same percentage applied to the tuition on any study abroad break program.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
And as soon as you're accepted on a program, you get an individualized status of finance form, like from the financial aid office, that tells you like what your costs will be, because nobody else will know that except for like you and the financial aid office. It goes through Bill and everything. So it's not like the study abroad office is taking your tuition money or your room and board money. You're paying Principia for that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. What else? Anything else? You guys want me to put the pretty picture back up again so you can see? I can see all your faces here. Pretty amazing. Yes, Gervais?
And it just goes along with not Sean Thornton, but Christian's question. How much spending money do I need to bring? Or like, do I pay for all my meals?
Yeah, great question. Gervais is our good prompter because we do all of the admissions weekends with her too for the new students. So we have this go back and forth here. So the abroad programs, all expenses, like you're paying tuition, room and board. And so all of the lodging, the meals, the transportation, the cultural activities, once you're in country, are paid for, that are part of the program. If we have free time, like time off, and you want to do another activity or you want to buy snacks or like the occasional ice cream or something, that's totally your prerogative and that will be on your own dime. So in terms of like how much spending money you want to bring, that's up to you. Like all of your basic needs will be taken care of. So what we will say is that, of course, like any responsible traveler, you have to bring something. You need to have access to funds, whether you have a debit card or a credit card, or bring some cash on hand, but you don't want to be traveling with like a lot of cash either. So you need to have access to some things, but you will be taken care of throughout. So even if we have a free day, all your meals will be taken care of. And of course, your lodging will go through till the end and things like that.
To follow up on that, how easy would it be to use a debit card there? Because I think Gervais mentioned at the beginning of this about getting money. Maybe that was a different context, but
that was mass amounts of money. So you think about like program RCs when they have to like give stipends out of meal allowance for everyone, right? Like they often feel like money bags because they'll try to go to the ATM and pull out like $1,000 at once, which ATMs aren't really built for that. But for the individual person, there are readily available ATMs, so it won't be a problem.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
No, it's a great clarification. Great clarification.
And quick question: Do they follow the American dollar?
No, it's the East Caribbean dollar, so it's a different currency, right? So when you pull money out of the ATM there, it wouldn't be in U.S. currency, and it's actually trickier in places now. It's not impossible and you can do it, like to exchange money when you're there, but you get a better exchange rate if you withdraw directly from an ATM if you have a debit card, rather than like bringing a couple hundred US dollars and trying to exchange it, typically, anyway. These are good nitty gritty questions. You guys are thinking about it.
So I've also I've taken a class where I'm certified in iPhone photography, and I have like macro lenses.
Oh, you're cutting out, John. I heard you've taken a class in iPhone technology.
I said another. Hello.
Yeah, you can try again if you want.
Yeah, and okay. I said I've taken a class and I'm certified in iPhone photography. And so I've invested in lenses like telephoto lenses and macro lenses and wide angle. So I was wondering if there's a possibility I would be able to use that for my photos, or is that just not
That would be
available?
like
Like, could I turn my phone on airplane mode or something?
right. So that will be like exception to the rule. We'd have to cover that on an individual basis. So it's definitely not like a non-starter, like no way if that is like a thing that we're doing. And I'm sure we could kind of figure out something that would be right for you and right for the group, and still in the spirit of what we're trying to create with having the no technology, the no access to communicate and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We have about 6 minutes left. We don't have to. I like sitting here staring at most of you, and then the other half of your names in black screen. But if you have any other questions and you want to stay on, please feel free. We can go right up till 8 o'clock. Is totally fine. But you're also welcome at this point to go on with your evening if you'd like. But I thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate your interest in this program. Erin and I and Mary Jane are super excited about it. And Gervais, you can see, is here. But yeah, please reach out if you have any questions. The application due date will come up quickly, 2 weeks from today or tomorrow, I guess, all online, and we'll be excited to receive any of your applications. So thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great night.
You too.
You too.